I have, in a way, stepped into a new sort of practice that I've come to call mythosomatic guide. And I'll explain the two components of it. So, the somatic element of the name implies the element of Western psychosomatic psychotherapy that I bring in, internal family systems specifically. And then the mytho aspect speaks to the mythopoetic technologies from the past. So animism, shamanism, and having a mythic and archetypal lens. And this whole mythic archetypal energy is where the best of Western psychotherapy, like the Jungian approach, begins to bridge into the world of shamanism and animism. And so what that means for this work is, if you are familiar with IFS, it's sort of a guided meditation into someone's internal landscape where you encounter what's called parts. And they will say that parts of us are entire, sovereign, whole beings that are trapped in our bodies, and they're created during a time where we received the impact of a trauma. So we have learned from Levine and Mate that trauma is something that lives within us, not what happened. And so when that impact comes, your body and its incredible, largely still unknown innate intelligence wants to protect you from some overwhelming force that could kill you, the trauma. And so in that moment of impact, there are parts created. So usually a number of protectors protecting you from whatever wound is coming in. And then another part called the exile, which holds that core wound, like shame, guilt, betrauma, betrayal. um, and so they're all parts of you. Now, they imply, or rather allude to in the trainings, that more than your parts can show up in these spaces. And that's what I've been experiencing a lot more. They mention that there can be aspects in there that do not identify as a part of the client. And usually you can tell when you realize that their age is something older than the client, for example. So that could be an ancestral energy. That can be a power or spirit animal totem. That can be some kind of entity, be it maleficent or beneficent. We don't know until we get to know them better. And over the past several months, I've been noticing more of those energies showing up in my spaces. And so I've been finding exploring them equally with the parts of people has created for much more expansive and profound and like accelerated kinds of healing. Like I've had people come in that I had never worked with before, and within weeks, like massive shifts similar to what can happen with like a medicine ceremony. Mm. Yeah, that's kind of long and short of what this work is. You start with a bit of a conversation with the client to get to an idea of where they're at in their life, kind of conjuring up the energies of what's alive with them, which allows us to hone in on something once we begin going into the subpsychic space of the mythopoetic, mythosomatic realm. And then afterwards, there's some debriefings, checking in how they're doing, things of that nature. Christopher will be my client today.
I'm the
And
guinea pig.
oh, well, I've done this before, not so much
I
again,
know, but
but I
I'm
like
in
this.
the way that we're doing it.
Yeah, and I want to speak to that. First of all, he has fully consented, and this is unusual. Yeah, and thank you for presencing that. I think it's important that people understand all the different ways this work can be done. And he and I have been talking about this for a while, and feel like it would be exciting to be able to like let people in on the process to see like what's possible and what it looks like, because it's really hard to understand in words. And also, it's gonna make some dope content to keep sharing.
All of the above.
Yeah. Anything that you want to share before we get started with the just initial chat?
Yeah. There's several things. First one, I'm realizing what a different part is active in me when I'm making a podcast.
Yeah.
versus like right now I'm having this experience. I'm like, whoa. And yeah, part of it is conversational and one it could be like considered podcast, but I'm recognizing that there's a distinct like things that I would say. And then on top of that, some nervousness. Like I've actually not since yesterday, since we committed the time and well, actually since I saw your video about it, I started to feel like, whoa, what am I gonna? Because this is very exposing. Like there's the protector. There's a protector that's like I'll share words that will describe something that's very personal that I don't want to reveal. It's already going into wanting to protect an image
Yeah.
and an
So
identity.
that's really important to presence because now you're identifying a part that's coming up and it's going to be there. And yeah, so it's possible we may not go as deep as we usually do because you don't know who's going to be on the receiving end of understanding this information about you. And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot to do with the person. I don't like any 8 billion people could see this. Sure, I'd be more frightened if I knew that all 8 billion were seeing it, but it has a lot to do with just my own ego stuff of like, oh, I don't want to share that, or there's no way that I would talk about that. It's things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it.
It's about me.
Yeah. Not others. Okay. Well, that is a good turning point for us to just move into talking about what's alive because you're already speaking to that. So we have
Yeah.
this part here that's kind of bristling up a little bit around doing this live. Not that it cares about what other people think, but it's about what you think about yourself and doing it more so, right?
Precisely. But before we go there, there's one more thing that I want to really, I guess, ask you about. So Richard Schwartz is the guy that developed this parts work that Anchor is talking about, and what's, as far as I understand, distinctly different with what I'm going to be doing here with Anchor. There's this whole mythological, archetypal, shamanic kind of energy that you're infusing with it. So the question that I have for you, I'm pretty sure IFS is recognized as a psychotherapeutic, like an official psychotherapeutic tool that therapists use in some countries, and I think the United States. Is that right? Do you know?
What do you mean, like certifiable is what you're getting at?
Like this is something in the tool belt, as far as I know and remember from the book that we read about it, is that it's recognized just like see cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, like an officially recognized by, I guess it would be the American Psychological Association, as a tool like Gestalt.
I don't know if it's recognized on the same level of the more longer standing approaches. Like, for example, I'm a certified IFS therapist, but I didn't have to go to school for like a
Right.
long, long time, right? So this is it's in the realm of other similar psychosomatic modalities like Hakomi, like somatic experiencing, the things that Peter Levine and Gabor Mate have developed that anyone can come in and train upon. And they're tools that can be wielded without like a deep education, from a university around psychology because they work. But I think because of that, there's a bit of a rift between like classic CBT and things of that nature.
All right.
So with that, let's just start with the preparation conversation. Just let me know what's alive for you right now in this moment. Maybe sharing any aspects or stories of your life leading up to this moment that feel relevant, that feel present. You know the drill.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that I'm feeling is this nervousness, and uh, wow, it's like such a, it's very magnified right now because the way that we're doing this, but it's the whole idea. I've spoken to you about, I don't know if we've done parts work around it before, but there's a part that's questioning what is courage versus what is being a fool. Yeah, like this idea of don't show someone your dirty laundry sort of thing, which is, okay, I want to expose myself and go there. And then I have this other voice that's like, wait a minute, maybe not everybody needs to know everything.
Hmm.
Like a gatekeeper. It's like, don't reveal. You gotta look like your shit's together, man. And if you share
Hmm.
that, people are gonna realize that you're an imposter. That's kind of some of the things that I could get into, like generally what I believe is causing that specifically, but it's also in part some of those things that I'm uh, afraid to share.
The way I would like
Sorry, I'm just
to.
trying to make sure that this is actually. Usually, I have to go into Facebook and allow the recording to be public,
Oh,
but
I see. Okay.
it's not even showing up there
No
now.
worries. It wasn't like I was in the middle of sharing something really deep. I'm being sarcastic, everyone.
Sorry, I just need to go check that now.
Well, while you're checking that, I'll just keep elaborating, really to hear myself speak, but Frank and anyone else that listens later too.
So many layers
There,
of technology.
there's just this part that wants to protect its image, but it's more than that. Then it goes into the second piece that I was mentioning at the beginning with anchor. I know that when I'm operating from self, I am for my life.
Mm.
And trust me, like if I looked at the hours that I have spent uh, in rehearsing something, let's just use acting as an example, but it's applicable to anything, practicing something before I go in front of other people to do the thing that I'm practicing. So many hundreds of hours. And I'm just illuminating that because not once in that whole time did I ever feel this level of comfort and ease, even in imagining it. So we have hundreds of hours of imagining, and this one moment recently that I had where I'm at a performance and it clicks in, and I'm like, oh, I actually wouldn't feel nervous at all in that moment on that stage. Of course, this is a different experience, but for some reason that feels present and
What
related
do
to
you
this.
imagine was different about that?
It was the music, man. This was music that is, I don't know, thousands plus years old from a continent that my ancestry comes from. So this might go right into the whole ancestry thing, but the way that, you know what it was, Anchor? I'm discovering it now as I'm just speaking to you about it. They weren't singing for an audience. They were singing to God, to Creator. And feeling that, I mean, that's my prayer where my creative anything comes from, but sometimes the pesky little ego will get in the way and make believe that it's something other than an act of worship.
And this was recent.
This was between 3 and 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. So I'm seeing a bit of a connection there with what's happening here. Like, in a way, here we are presenting ourselves to the world. And this isn't necessarily a performance, but there is a similar level of transparency, vulnerability, and exposure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I wonder, just hearing you say that, I wonder if that's some kind of I don't even know the right IFS, or if there would be a correct terminology, but like a protector on steroids, because it's protecting me from revealing other stuff that would be potentially more deep and valuable. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Despite whatever someone thinks of this.
So we've got that. And I'm curious, 'cause I know you've been on quite a long journey and a pilgrimage And we know how trying travel can be, especially when it's of the nature of being a seeker, being a mystic, helping others, the service you're about to provide. Is there anything else that you're noticing that's coming up that feels like a challenge? It feels like troubling or painful on this journey you've been on and what you're preparing to do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say it. It's my uh a part that lacks the ability to produce and support myself and my loved ones in a way that is not worried about how I'm going to pay the next bill.
Hmm.
And that is like, and just in sharing it, I feel somewhat of a weight lifted. But there's this, yeah, a very real, and that's the main point of contention in my relationship, as far as I can see, my intimate relationship with Sadka, which is around finances and money. And I feel devoted and committed to what I'm going to do, like no matter what. But I don't want to stray from the point. Um,
Yeah. Here's the thing.
yeah,
I know you well. I know this has been something you've been struggling with for some time. Does it feel particularly powerful right now? Is it more highlighted than usual?
no, no. I mean, actually, there's two things come up. One, it's there in the background, like that's the thing that I was protecting and didn't want to share, basically, the essence of it. But I feel it very interesting in the past couple or few days, but pretty much this whole trip, more and more like that's a irrelevant sort of story.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't really have much consciously, at least, sway or power over, like, I'm gonna, and okay, universe, aware of that, but I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. Not to say I'm gonna, be like a pit bull banging his head up against the same door, like, still different sort of. But
Hmm.
then the other thing that comes up is like, oh, Anchor, you said that that's something I've been struggling with for a long time, and that's exposing, and you shouldn't have said that because that's bringing stuff from before into this, and now it's public. Like, there's this whole,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, we do have a history. And
I
so,
know, but that feels like, it just feels, yeah, really like you shared something vulnerable that's mine to share, and like that's uncomfortable to me. So that's what's coming up. Just being honest. And that's partly a protection mechanism, because I'm like, you make sure you don't do that again while we're live in this session. That's the underlying voice there.
so would you not like me to name patterns that we both know have been enduring in effort to contextualize them in the present?
No, no, it's just, it's not that. It's more so like, if you're referencing unworthy, I mean, that for me, I feel like, is the core that it comes down to, and you're framing it like that, but not bringing maybe personal uh examples in. That would feel best. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to apprise me of before we go into the mythosomatic space?
As long as we're going to put this sage to good use, I have no further questions, my friend.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point, we're going to begin to transition into the mythosomatic work. And what I am going to do is take a moment to sage this room and call in the directions. And as I'm doing so, calling in my support, my guides, my spirit animals, and totems. Christopher is going to prepare himself for this session. He's going to lie down and put the camera by his side so I can still see his body, torso to head, and he will be saging himself, which is something I can't do from here, but we can still bridge that gap, with the technologies at hand. And then we're going to begin the session. So Just take care of that.
Lovely.
Calling in the guardians and the spirits of this land and this home I've worked with for many years. I can be present in this work. Calling my guides and guardians and protectors, those that walk with me, Lord of the Forest, Cernunnos, Lord of Compassion and Grace, Jesus Christ, Thor, Many, the gods of the storm, my power tokens of the great wolf, the armadillo, and the giant ruby have offered themselves to me on this land. And may all mocking spirits, trickster spirits, maleficent spirits in this space understand that they cannot join in this work. They're not allowed in the containers of these four walls. They're being sealed right now. Calling the direction of the east, of the rising sun, new beginnings, our young years, our infancy, coming into order and understanding of this life, of the color yellow. Austra o Austri, color ek atik, ki stadin, gef os afel, late os. All in the direction of the south, of our adolescent years, the fire and fury of transformation, strife, and competition, of the jungles and the jungle medicines, the color red. Sudri o Suder, kala ek adik, ki stadin, gef os afel, leed os. Call in the direction of the west, the color black of our adult years of maturity, interdependence, community, care. Vestli o Vester, kala ek adik, ki stadin, gef os safel, leeth os. Of the north of our elder years and the turning of cycles, the movement from one round to the next. Of the elders, the medicine men and women, the seers, the oracles, the witches, the shamans. The color white. Nordri or Norder, kala ekadik, ki stadin, gef os afel, leith os. Christopher, you might like to know that Jimmy has entered the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's my godson.
You have your candle lit?
Mm-hmm. Angle's good.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, be careful with that microphone. It's really sensitive. As long as it's resting somewhere where it's not going to be jostled too much. The
Okay.
quality is good, but just when it does move, it's quite staticky.
Got it. Okay. I think if it was just in the past 20 seconds, that was just for me adjusting the volume, so it should be good.
Okay, great. I have a little medicine here from Colombia. This is called Ambil and Mambe, feminine and masculine. Masculine, the tobacco, the feminine, the coca. And this medicine is traditionally ritually used in community to resolve disputes and confrontations. It's a very heart-opening medicine. It sharpens our senses and allows us to speak with a sweeter tongue. And so I like to use it in this work. Just gonna grab my tea. Come on, Jimmy.
I'll tell you, it's amazing how much more relaxed those parts are just by laying down and closing my eyes.
And lately, when I've been doing the work here, I have people lie on the mat, which further relaxes them.
It's like maybe that's part of the answer to the whole thing. Just relax more, bro.
So we're going to begin simply by taking some long, slow, deep breaths in and out through the nose, allowing for a deeper exhale. This will help relax further your nervous system. And as you continue to breathe in this way, imagine that with each breath, you're bringing your presence more into your body. You might like to imagine that energy and presence moving squarely into your heart space. As you begin to further inhabit your heart, now would be a good time, if you wish, to welcome in your guardians, your guides, your spirit or power animals or totems, or any supportive ancestors you've been working with, calling upon your team right now. And you can do that internally, or you can speak it out loud, whichever feels most appropriate for you.
In the presence of Christ.
And now I want you to begin to notice any sensation from the body or any thought from the mind as they arise and pass. Doing your best to simply notice them as they come and go, developing a familiarity for what is currently present within your unique mosaic of consciousness right now. Becoming curious about the nature of these parts, these aspects, these energies. Noticing how they appear to you, whether it's a certain shape or a color or size, a texture, a speed, a velocity, a weight. And now becoming most curious about which of these sensations or thoughts wants your attention the very most. And so you may be curious about which of them feels closest, which of them feels biggest, which of them is returning more than the others. And taking some time with this, and when you identify it, simply let me know.
Got it.
What are you noticing, Christopher?
There's this part that I don't, maybe I've encountered it before, but I don't know if I've encountered this aspect of it, or maybe it's entirely new, new as in like discovering it, like a manager of all of the other protectors, and it's pressing down. There's a very clear, like, everyone stayed down kind of suppression, and it's in my stomach and solar plexus, like lower heart area. But there's a very clear pressing downward of it's this magician like energy that is very good at compartmentalizing all of my other parts depending on what situation I'm in.
So what I'd like you to do over the next few moments is focus all of your attention on the space between your belly and your heart, where you feel it the most, or expanding to the entirety of that place in your torso, and letting your attention blossom there, pool in this space, while being very curious about this energy that's showing up. Bringing yourself as close to it as feels comfortable and safe right now. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. As you do so, noticing if anything shifts in the way that this energy shows up, noticing if any other emotions seem to arise for you, naming anything that feels helpful to share.
At the beginning, when I was just finishing describing that it's this compartmentalizer making everyone else like go down and be quiet, I had a very visceral tingle in the right side of my back of my head, and then it dissipated in moments. And I thought it was centralizing like up through under my sternum, like it wants to shoot up and out like a geyser, but it's being pressed down. And then it has since transitioned into the sort of lower left side of my back area.
Okay. Continue to track it. Most importantly, staying as close to the energy itself. Try to see if you can get its attention so it's aware of your presence.
No.
Are you there? Okay. How are you feeling towards this energy right now? What emotions do you notice within your body?
The part is saying don't speak. And so there's fear. And yet, from self energy, I am feeling curious
Mhm.
towards that part. Yeah. Compassionate and patient.
Do you feel curious and compassionate enough? Do you feel resourced enough to begin a dialogue with this part?
But self feels curious. I don't know if the part will be in for it.
Hmm. Yeah, we're checking in on the strength of your self energy right now. If you had to approximate what percentage of you is self and what percentage is a feeling of blending with this part, what would you say?
At first, it was very strong. I would have said maybe even 50-50, like hard to discern self from it. But at this point, it feels more like 90-10. Like,
Okay, great.
yeah,
That's a good
I'm
place to start.
good to go. Yeah.
So, facing this part and preparing to speak, I want you to ask the question, why is it here today?
Yeah, it really starts to blend. There's almost immediate trepidation and this sort of like wanting to center, like a freeze response. It's a classic freeze response that's arising, and it
Hmm.
tries to get me blended, me self blended with it, to be like, you don't know what to say. And the very first impulse was the part saying, I said don't speak. And then here I am speaking. So it's
Hmm. Well, let's work with that a bit then. The part is becoming more blended as you ask its purpose. And so allow this part for some time to speak through you instead. Does it have anything it wants to share at all?
the first thing it said was, what if I don't want to?
That's
It's
perfectly
like a
fine.
it's like a little, and so the blending is going down, interestingly, since voicing that. And it's like a 4-year-old with his arms crossed, sort of like,
So you're
and
seeing
what
it.
if I don't wanna?
Hmm. So is it showing up a little differently now? Is it shifting forms?
It's just, it's actually the sort of bit of pulsing pain that I was feeling has subsided, and it's more, yeah, it's like at first it was this big energy,
Yeah.
so almost overwhelming and like blending, but now just even in the past minute, or I don't know how long it's been, it's just like this little boy in a corner saying, you can't make me do something.
Right. Okay. So
It's
we're
like
back in a
shrunk.
more self-resource space.
Yeah.
What I would like you to share with this little boy next is I want you to thank it sincerely for showing up. I want you to let it know that you're here to listen to whatever it wants to share. You're here to support it however it would like to be supported. That you understand it's here for a reason, and you simply want to understand that reason so you can help. And maybe you would like to take a moment to take a few deep breaths before offering this and really connecting as strongly to yourself before doing so.
It's really beautiful. Pretty much right as you were saying that. There's just this sweet little boy, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do that, but first, just hold me." So
Yeah,
immediately, I just went, and I'm just like, and now I'm actually the self energy is kind of like, well, he's crying, but there's like a father figure that's me and holding him and sort of sweetly laughing with this 4-year-old in the corner who's just like the self is just like you never had to do anything to begin with ever, and I'm here for you, and of course I'll hold you. And it's feeling like almost I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but sort of like, oh, the little boy is like, wow, I can't believe I fell for that.
good. So just be with this process for as long as it wants to unfold, noticing all the different shifting emotions and qualities and textures in this experience. Not rushing this. It's a deep invitation to be supported.
He started to feel a little fear, like there's all this happiness and joy, and then there's this fear of not being taken care of. And
Is
so
that
as
what
the
he's feeling? Or are you
it's
feeling
what
from
it,
him?
no, it's what he's feeling, and I'm
Mhm.
in self energy assuring him that everything that he is taken care of and that I'm taking care of him.
Yeah, engaging in any dialogue with him in this embrace that feels supportive, continuing to exude compassion, curiosity, and gratitude towards him. You may even imagine creating a space around you that feels supportive to engendering further safety and protection.
Yeah, all he wants to do, I asked him, I was like, "What do you want to do?" And he's like, "I just want to go for a walk with you and hold your hand during sunset, and we don't have a goal to get anywhere. We're just walking and being with each other."
Mhm.
He's really that's very
Yeah, so do that. So does he know where he wants to go, or does he simply want to walk with you?
and he's specifically has experiences of being exhausted from trying like everything having a goal and like getting somewhere. So it's specifically a walk without destination.
Mhm.
The walk is that's like he doesn't want to get the walk is the goal.
As you walk, pay attention to anything that you encounter, anything that you pass by. Feeling free to share anything that you would like as this scene unfolds.
So from the beginning, he's seen the sun setting, and we are walking in a more forested, but there's like trickles of sun coming in, and we're walking to a clearing where the sun is setting.
Mhm. Is this place familiar to you at all?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, what about it do you recognize?
It's so hard to describe because it's like a combination of this, like a real location. It's probably 5 miles from where you are now in Costa Rica or less. But then it's also more kind of Ireland, has a European feeling to it at the same
Mm-hmm.
time.
So you're in a clearing in a forest. The sun is setting, some rays trickling through, a place that feels familiar, a mixture of reality and fantasy, reminding you of both home here in Costa Rica and the home of your ancestors in Ireland. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting, Anchor, is the sun keeps getting further, not like further away, but it's almost as if we're walking through the same. We're getting closer to it, but there's this. I think it's the part has this creative idea of like, oh, we're never gonna get to it, but it's a joyous pursuit to keep moving towards the sun, even though we haven't gotten to the clearing yet, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So you're following the sun joyously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Too much. SUN and SON. Christ. It's a metaphor for Christ.
Mm-hmm. And what are you noticing about this young part right now? How is he presenting? How is he showing up lately?
Right when I said Christ, he turned to me, self energy in this scene, and was like, but don't get too serious. Like, don't buy into the whole crucifixion. Like, that's too. We don't want to grow up into this story of suffering. Like, he felt a little
Mm-hmm.
scared almost when I said son and compared it to Christ.
Yeah, ask him if there's anything more he wants to share about that, what that means for him.
He got like more, almost like he got older or more mature, and like stopped me and said, we don't have to go there, we can just keep walking forever, and the point of it is the journey, but not buying into this suffering narrative. It's like a wisdom just started speaking through him that I as self energy, I'm like, wait a minute, you're a child and you're telling me this right now.
Yeah,
Interesting.
does that make sense right now?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So taking a moment to let him know that you're still on the same page, that you understand, and that you're grateful for him sharing with you.
Yeah. He forgot that he was with self energy. He went into mistrust that he's like, oh yeah, I forgot that I'm safe with you. To
Mhm.
not go there. That's not, you are not that.
And where are you now?
We're just stopped, but now slowly starting to walk again in the same sort of repetitive, but little differences here and there, sort of forest pathway.
And so now that we've developed a bit more closeness, trust, and rapport, we'll try to ask that question again. Ask him why he came to you today.
He's saying to show me the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually, in the moment, even before you asked it, he started running with full excitement towards the sun because he realized it's going down.
Mm-hmm. Does it make sense that that is his purpose right now?
Yeah.
Show you the sun? Yeah. Let him know that you understand that. And follow him wherever he's going, whatever he's running towards. Stay by his side.
You know, they've stopped at a clearing by the sun, right as it's still there. It's like just soon to not see any of it anymore.
Mm-hmm. So you're sitting and watching the final moment to the sunset together.
Yeah, standing there.
Standing.
And there's like an edge. It's sort of like an open ravine area. Very beautiful.
Hmm. So in a way, you've come to a place that you must stop.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's saying the point is to see the sun.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you'd like to share with him in this moment?
And that he's free to see the sun whenever he likes to.
And how does he respond to that?
He's excited and I didn't say it out loud, but I said with or without me. And he's just like, without you? What? That's scary. He's saying like, wait, okay, that's exciting and sounds adventurous, but I don't know that I want to see the sun without you, is what he's
Mm-hmm.
saying. And so I'm letting him know that's fine. I'll come with him whenever he wants to see the sun. And he's like, okay, good. Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to be with me when we're seeing the sun.
Right. Because that's why he came, to show you the sun, to share it with you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And then there's a next question from self that says, yeah, why are you showing me the sun? And I'm getting the feeling, Anchor, that it's not actually the self asking that, but this other highly intellectual, rationalizing piece part.
A thinker.
No. And yeah, it's like, but maybe there's a deeper reason to it. And it seems pretty valid and legitimate to consider that too.
And how blended do you feel with this thinker energy right now?
There's a like an unblending that occurred just in it's distanced, and it's very clear that the reason why this 4-year-old wanted to show me the sun is to show me the sun. That's coming from the self.
Yeah. And so in this moment, I want you to thank this thinking part that wants to know. Thank it for showing up and speaking its piece and letting it know that it is welcome to be here and to witness and to observe.
He's just like really dumbfoundedly sat down and is like, well, if the kid's saying the point to see the sun is to see the sun, I'll try it too. And he's just sitting there, just like, it is really funny to look on his face because he's like, oh, that's the fucking point. Okay, well, let's just look at the sun together then.
Right. Good.
And he finds it funny. Like, he's like, oh, wow, that's okay.
And is this younger part feeling okay with the thinking part there?
Oh, yeah. He's like looking over at this, I don't know, 18, 19-year-old. And he's like, yeah, he's doing his job. It's quite a new, the most intense thing is this. It's a new experience in a way for that part that's coming in and rationalizing and philosophizing and trying to figure out. He's just like, this feels pretty good. But he's very surprised by it. Like, wait, what? Nothing to solve? Okay.
Yeah. Nothing right now. If it will help, you can assure him that you're looking forward to spending some time with him later to make some meaning out of it, to find a way to apply this to your life. But right now, we're simply here to experience this.
Yeah, that whole him voicing and sharing that is really, it's like a kid that's had homework for 30 years and goes outside for the first time. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I didn't know about this. Okay. Like, he doesn't really know how to be, but he's enjoying it. Like, it's a new, exciting thing to, he
Yeah.
knows he can always go back to getting that, figuring it out later or whatever.
You're noticing he's kind of like an 18, 19-year-old part.
Yeah, maybe even closer to early 20s, but around there. College me.
Mm-hmm. And so what's happening in the space right now, the scene?
He's the college me, he is sitting there like, I'll write a poem about this, and he just pulled out a piece of paper and he's writing a poem about the setting sun. And the self is this, and I don't, hard to describe it. I could tell that this laughter is not blended laughter. It's like this fatherly figure that's sitting there getting a kick out of all this, and
Mm-hmm.
the little boy's finding it really, really quite comical too. This man that's like, oh, I can turn this into a poem, and it's like laughing at the beauty, the hopeless beauty of like, that's what that part does.
Yeah, exactly. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's very joyful and relaxing. And that guy's writing a really good poem too.
That's right. That's what he does. How's the sunset?
And it's still like twilight. No, before twilight. Like, I can still see an edge of the sun. They're all really loving the pointlessness of just sitting there. We're not fishing. We're not getting something done. We're just relaxing for the sake of relaxing. And the dad self energy part is yelling over to the poet. It's like, don't forget that this is where your creative genius actually is sourced from. And the kid's just actually like playing almost like with a toy truck or something. Almost like looking at that poet part, like, how would I say it? In a sweet way, but like the whole energy that I said of that's what that part's doing. Even the little boy is like curiously doesn't care, and at the same time is like, don't you understand, Mr. Poet, that playing with this toy truck is the same as this epic poem that you'll one day share with the world, quote unquote.
Does that all make sense to you?
Yeah, the poet is a bit befuddled by it, but it makes sense to the myself and the boy. The poet like looked up and he's like, "Ah, I could get some good poetry from stopping to think about that."
And what's the experience you're having in your body right now? What do you notice within?
Well, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but I'm in a very expanded, pretty much the exact posture of the laying Buddha, except on my back, not on my side. I think very safe and expanded and uh, loose.
If you were to describe that state emotionally, how would you say?
Uh, Happy contentment, like a deep knowing that not only will everything quote unquote be okay, but it's like that's what this is. Faith, faith in that.
I'm wondering if the sun has set or if it's soon to. Perhaps there is a place you would like to take these parts.
Mm. Everyone and every it feels like this is the perfect place to be, really. Does it feel like anywhere else would be any better? But also, right here is pretty good. And I mean right here, literally physically in Bulgaria, where, yeah, they're simultaneously like a new presence of really being fully here in my body and also, well, yeah, it's as though the scene is fading. So the sun has gone down, but it's also less of the sun going down and like that just alchemizing into here and now. Non and that's where I really, you said, where do you want to go? And I'm emphatically saying I self is my ambition is to be here.
Mhm. So I want you to check in with the little boy and ask him what his dreams are. What is it he really wishes to do?
He's loves to play for the sake of play. And so he's actually looking over at the poet because the poet is also the actor, and he's like, "Oh, I like what that guy's doing. It sounds like fun." You know what? This is exactly it, Anchor. he likes, and it's just exactly what this literal 5-year-old to 9-year-old version piece part of me, to create stories and be in the story.
Yeah, perhaps something is there between he and the writer, the poet, the actor. Maybe there's something they
Or
do together with that.
yeah, I mean, he feels very. It's like, I'll be that guy. That looks like a good option. Well, this is kind of fucking. There's a big, like a very big energy that just arose with the very clear recognition that the little boy is the self and the poet, and that little boy, oh wow, there's like an immense power to that child because he self poet art. The little boy's like, I'm the one creating all of this the narrative of Christopher's life.
Hmm. And he's the storyteller.
The storyteller, yeah, and it's equally like it was terrifying for a split second, but exhilaratingly terrifying. Like, yeah, bro, none of it's really actually true, and at the same time, here you are. And that was right where above in my heart area, where it felt at first that pushing part was right below that area, interestingly.
So what's the connection you're making there? What's the realization?
Uh, when we first went in, I presenced this managerial part that's really good at compartmentalizing all of these, and that sensation was right below the sensation that happened upon the storyteller realizing he's crafted this whole story. And
Yeah.
that's more in my heart center, and the pain that I felt is not there. Maybe it's 5%, or even not. I can't feel it at all. There was a very physical, painful, contractive sensation that is not being experienced anymore.
And what I'm remembering is in the beginning, he said, don't say anything. Don't
Yeah,
share anything. Because he's the
exactly.
storyteller. This is his space right now.
Holy shit.
You see that?
Fuck. That's crazy. Yeah, he said don't say anything. And he said a bunch of stuff, and it's great. And the don't saying anything was, I think, causing that kind of pain.
Mm-hmm. Because he was realizing that was his purpose for showing up. And it's something he didn't want you to speak, I imagine. It's that he wanted first to be in your presence simply, which allowed for the safety and to unfold for this story and myth to start being created here.
Yeah, that sounds accurate. Yeah. And that part is so vile when it's uh like when it thrashes its head, it's like, don't fucking say anything. Shut the fuck. Like, it's very, whoa. How it first presents. It's like, but, God dare I say it, but corrosive, cancerous. not malicious, but just fucking very, very, very violent and dominating.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe ask him, now that we've developed some more trust and rapport, ask him why he didn't want you to speak when he first showed up.
Ask the little boy,
Yes.
because he's afraid of being seen.
All right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, mostly. Yeah. I just don't. It's like, wow, why
Yeah. Is it
are you?
okay that it mostly makes sense and sometimes a little bit?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Just thank you for sharing that and let him know that you're following along.
And again, that why is coming from the poet part, actually. I can tell.
Hmm. Well, ask the little boy, ask the storyteller, what does it imagine will happen when he's seen?
It's hard to believe, but the first thing that was coming up is killed.
Is it okay that you don't fully understand that response?
Yeah, and killed is not. It's destroyed. It's different than killed.
Ask him what he's willing to share with you at this point about that, what he knows about being destroyed for being seen. Perhaps there's a memory or a story he can tell you about that.
Yeah, he's showing me memories. Yeah.
You need only share with your words what feels safe and necessary.
Yeah, there's another part that comes in, and it's like is very aware, protector of that, is very aware of the memories and is discerning to say in a if you were one on one with Anchor and this wasn't being recorded, I would share those memories, but I'm not going to do that now, and that feels like the right thing.
Are you familiar with this part? It's a new one.
The no, yeah, I'm familiar with this part. Yeah, this is business as usual. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so now we're understanding that these new parts are part of this particular cluster and constellation.
Mhm. And it's but I want to clarify something, and maybe this is because it's being recorded, but uh, the memories are, you know what? The little boy is not sharing those memories or whatever, if it's the protector that doesn't want them shared, out of a deep reverence and respect for those involved in those memories. It's actually very honorable to not share. It's not even like this is the thing that I really want to share. It's not like some big traumatic thing either. It's just like some stuff is for you, and this is that stuff.
You're taking a moment to thank that other part that showed up, who's protecting and withholding the proper stories and memories. Let's let him know he's
Uh,
yeah.
it's the White Wizard. Yeah, this is a part that Anchor and I have worked with that is very sharp humorous but deeply wise, and is the gatekeeper of discernment.
That's right. Okay, Christopher, we're going to start to bring this to a close. As we always do in the end, the first thing is to bring all the parts that you have experienced into view and expressing your deep gratitude for them showing up and sharing, assuring them, especially the new ones, this isn't the last time you'll come to see them. And if it feels right, showing these new parts to a home that they can have whenever they like within your heart, letting them know that this makes it so easy for them to stay connected with you and for you to come find them when it's time to talk again.
We have the coolest little like hobbit house just a mile away from the sunset spot.
Yeah, so take them there and be sure that they have everything they need to feel comfortable and safe in this place. Create whatever's necessary.
Yeah, everyone's happy. I mean, I'm basically in the hobbit house.
Yeah, that's right. And so now using the next few moments to allow for any last words to transpire between you and them.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. The white wizard is very much so Gandalfy right now, is pointing to this ring on my right finger, saying, "Wear that ring wisely." And the little boy is like, he gets that he's like that. Even though he's the creator of the narrative, he's like, "I'm playing. I get it. I know what's up."
Mm-hmm. Now taking a moment to make your farewells and just slowly return to the space. I lost your video, by the way. You're still there?
Well, how'd you
Tell us
handle
what
that?
happened there.
What'd you say?
And tell us what happened there.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was the most perfect thing to happen in the moment when it happened, because I was just so relaxed in
Your video
this.
is upside. Yeah, we need to
Here,
get that orientation.
there we go.
We're still recording.
Rotation is should be back. The camera's kind of fuzzy, huh? Anyway, it was perfect that happened that way, because I was just so chill.
You're still being recorded like sideways.
Really?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know if your
I'll have
camera
to
has shifted because of that.
I'll have to put it. I turned off the rotation thing, but
That's
I'm,
right.
I'm actually on Zlodka's phone because my phone did something it's never done before.
Oh, of course. Well, I'm curious, like what did it do?
Well, I didn't. I was gonna plug in the charger before we started recording, but I forgot to do that. It died, but then when it was up, it turned on, and I joined the Riverside app, and then it died again, even though it was plugged in. And that's what never
Okay.
happened before. So it was. But there were like parts were coming online of like, oh no, this rookie mistake, blah blah blah. But I was in just such a deep state after sharing what I did with the ring, where I was just like, took care of it, and wasn't, I'm not happy that happened, but it was a good
Yeah, I mean,
ending
that
point.
moment where I said, "Okay, say your farewells and come back in your own time," and then like, oof. So all
You heard
good.
the thing about the ring right before, right?
Yes, that was the last thing I heard, and I looked up and your screen was blank. So how are you feeling right now?
Feeling really relaxed and centered, and yeah, it's just an interestingly perfect portal to look at different parts, get like quickly reactivated, and then figuring out how to use my phone and stuff, which was not the
Mhm.
easiest thing right away. But yeah, I feel great.
Yeah, so just kinda to recapitulate, you came in with this notion of courage versus foolishness, and of course, the nervousness of doing this work in this way, and also presencing your struggle with providing money and coming back to this sense of worthiness. And so, like, it's that part that came up first, this part that first felt like a blending of trepidation and freezing before we knew it was a little boy and didn't want to share, didn't want you to share anything either. And there was a lot of blending happening in and out, like it was very active, right? And then so when you let it know that you were here for it, that you're here to listen and share with it, to support it in however it wanted to be, then you went into holding it and went for a walk to the sunset and feeling a sense of home between here and your ancestry in Ireland, coming to learn that that's what the purpose of this part was to show you the sun and to also keep you from being too serious around the joy of Christ in that story. We don't want to
Hmm.
grow up into suffering. We don't want to be crucified. And in that moment, you felt him become a little more mature. Something happened there. Went through a clearing, came to a ravine, asked him to share more about what is it he wants to do more of. And it's to share in the sun, realizing he's a storyteller. And this is about when the 18 to 19-year-old part came in who was thinking about what this all means.
Hmm.
And he came into writing some poetry. At this point, we checked in with your body, which was feeling safe and relaxed and open, like the relaxing Buddha, the reclining Buddha, feeling a sense of faith. And shortly afterwards, you learn that the boy's dream is to play, and he wants to be more like the poet and the actor. He likes him. And then a big energy came in, some bigger feeling, realizing that this is where you realize the boy is the storyteller, that this is his
Hmm.
story, this is his world. And the reason why he wouldn't share in the beginning, he didn't want you to share because he was afraid of being seen and being destroyed by being seen. And that's when another part came in. We asked him to share more about that. Some other protectors like this isn't the place for that. And this was the white wizard, a part that you knew. It was very discerning. And then you took them all to a hobbit house in your heart. And you were reminded to wear the ring wisely. That all tracking for you?
And comprehensive and accurate. What was this like for you?
In the beginning, I was a little concerned that we weren't going to get anywhere because of the strong and active amount of blending that I'd never noticed in our work together.
Mm. Hmm.
But once we got through that, through your experience in holding him and helping him feel safe to express and to really show up, it really started to take off from there. And I really enjoyed the whole, like, mythopoetic sense of it all. Like, it was a journey through a forest with the sun, letting that kind of play out in its own. Noticing I was paying more attention to helping you notice what was happening in the scenery and what were you noticing, familiarity to places, bringing that in, and not simply focusing only upon collecting information about the parts and like being very dogged about getting it up front like I used to. What's
Mhm,
your job? What's your fear? What would you rather be doing? What's your age? And like with a good story, these things come up at the right time,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
I'm not sure if you noticed that was a little different.
Yeah, well, you mind if I comment on that? Yeah, so there's two things I think that obviously this is different than what we've done before, but your awareness of the blending, and I don't think this had too much to do with it just being shared and recorded. I think maybe that had a small magnification power, but this tracks with the progress that I've seen in my meditation, but also my life practice of it's really the white wizard being more rigorously skeptical and discerning and cutting apart to see what's actually going on here. And that's why it appeared like there was more blending that was coming out through the work, but it tracks with, I'm correlating my ability to basically be like, hold on, slow down, who's actually speaking here? It shows me that there's been progress in my own practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and what I'm also realizing is the final triad in the end of the part. So you get the boy who is very creative, very imaginative, very much in like the realm of feeling, and transmitting that feeling into story. And then the thinker, who's the one who's going to take the information and synthesize it into like something, beyond the story, but like concretizing it into like something to give, something to do. And like there's a polarity there, right? In a sense, like some polarized parts. And then in the end, like the elder came in, right? The discerning white wizard.
Yeah, it felt like the most comprehensive narrative constructing of the parts and how they work together and how they're related to each other than
Yeah.
I've experienced with you in any previous. Before, it felt like there was a fragmentation and not really even understanding how or yeah how they're related. But it seems like the relationship is very clear to me now from this, like especially with the connection of the little boy being like, oh, this is the story I've been telling, bringing the unconscious into the conscious, really, essentially.
Yeah. And it's our young parts, our child parts that really have like the true like essence of our story, right? And I'm also noticing there's a progression, like the child to the young adult to like the more mature elder,
Mm-hmm.
not similar to like the women archetypes of maiden, mother, crone. There's like three parts present in the end. Hmm.
Yeah, that feels very clarifying for me. The
And
relationship.
did you touch upon anything around this original theme you presence around courage versus foolishness?
Yeah, that's where the when the white wizard was coming in to decide not to share the context of certain memories.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the nut of analysis I have right now. Anything left you want to share before we stop the recording?
Just grateful, man. I think I was reflecting on this even before the session. This thing that it takes two very unique and, in my estimation, courageous people to do what we're doing in the way that we're doing it. And so, really grateful that we did this together.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for being open to it and being courageous enough at the beginning to name that, oh, there's something new here that we haven't dealt with before.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that don't know, like Christopher and I, we're in this kind of work all the time together, whether we're like consciously doing it or not. And this particular environment like brought up something entirely new. So, you know, I'm always prepared to do the work, and that there was something entirely novel. Well, y'all get to see something really in action here for us.
Yeah. What one more thing on that, because you reminded me of it when you just said this. The novelty, I believe, also has to do with what can be uh, gray zone when it comes to the different hats that we wear in each other's lives. And so, yeah, I was noticing like personal stuff come up with you and how, I mean, of course, that's going to be the case, but it's not like, I mean, it's hard to even imagine a context where you would just be quote unquote like coach that I was hiring and paying, and then we had this idea and did it under that context. But I'm just, yeah, we have a layered I don't even want to say complex, but that's the word that comes closest, relationship. It's not like this is strictly, yeah, you're not like the your only function in my life isn't this, and that makes this a layered sort of thing. And I feel like you had and demonstrated uh, discernment and respect and kindness in recognizing those things as they were coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that brings you to a final point that I want to impress upon those out there who may be curious about this work or experiencing it in various ways, whether through the Western psychosomatic pathologically led lens or something more shamanic, more animist. Many would say that you shouldn't do this work with your friends, and I would wholeheartedly disagree. I feel like it's largely symptomatic of the ills of Western culture that psychiatrists, counselors, and therapists will say that we should avoid the dual relationship at all costs, which is to say working with someone who's your friend and also creating them as a client. I see that as indicative of the greatest ill in our communities, which is division. We're not separated. We're not connected to one another. Before psychotherapy and all its constituent offerings, shamanism was how people were guided through such situations. And in fact, the way that they do so with dialogue and with aspects of nature as oracle is not so indifferent to some of the most effective psychotherapies, right? And these people were family. They knew each other intimately. And I understand that that does invite in more work to be done, more to navigate, as Christopher just presenced. But that's what we need to do in order to get back into harmonious civilization and relationship again, is to be willing to do that work, to name what's coming up for us personally, and to integrate it into our lives and relationships with our friends and our family and our loved ones.
Cannot agree more, my friend.
You know, a wise man once told me, that's a prayer God can work with. Thanks for joining, everyone.